That's a video for the creatives that are feeling a little lost or just a bit tired. I am Lou, a travel photographer, and I teach photo editing and help photographers to find their authentic style. I am a travel photographer, but this year I've decided to don't travel at all. I wanted to make this year a year where I really focus on business and on working to stabilize every part of my business. I love what I do and I'm feeling really lucky because this year I've been able to work on incredible projects and I've been developing things that are really fulfilling for me. However, a few weeks back, I started to be kind of burned out. I didn't want to go shooting anymore. I didn't really want to open Photoshop or to retouch even, which is really unusual for me because I really love what I do. I really love spending hours in Photoshop retouching photos. And I started to wonder what was the point of all that, which was a little alarming because as I just said, I really love what I do. So I knew there were something off. So even though I decided to make this year a year of a lot of work, of hard work, I thought, okay, maybe I need a bit of holidays. And I decided to take 2 weeks of everything, 2 weeks of photography, 2 weeks of retouching, 2 weeks of business, 2 weeks where I only do what I want to do, where I take care of myself and where I would do the things I don't always have to do, like reading, doing more sport, like cooking and stuff like this. So during those 2 weeks, I had the time to do all the things that I like to do, but I do maybe a bit less when I'm working all day. And so that's the main topic of this video. I read a few books, but today I want to talk about a book that helped me to refresh my vision as creative. This is the book from Austin Kleon, Keep Going, 10 Ways to Stay Creative in Good Times and Bad. First of all, I really love the books from Austin Kleon. I've read Still Like an Artist a million times and I'm still reading it from time to time. His books are so easy to read. As you can see that it's filled with some drawing like this, so it's so easy to read and very insightful. And today I want to share with you the 9 takeaways I got from this book that helped me to reconnect with my creativity during these 2 weeks of holidays. And I truly hope that it's going to give you the will to first maybe read the book that I really recommend and to give you some ways to maybe reconnect with your creativity, to give you some ideas of things you can do if you are feeling tired or lost at the moment as a creative. So let's get started. So the first point is to take it one day at a time. Worrying about tomorrow is the best way to kill creativity. Do your best today. In the book, Kleon writes, there will be good days and bad days. Days when you feel inspired and days when you just want to walk off a bridge. So do your best today without killing your creativity, thinking about what could happen tomorrow or what happened yesterday. Also, once the day is over, be done with it. The goal is to make it to the end of the day no matter what, and at the end of the day, forgive yourself if not everything went how you expected it to go. Like it is written in the book, a day that seems like a waste today might turn out to have a purpose or use or beauty later on. So take it one day at a time, make it to the end of the day, and always forgive yourself. The second point is really an interesting one, and this is about making lists. We often hear about to-do list. Of course, I'm pretty sure that you also make to-do lists. Maybe I also make to-do lists. Mostly for my business. When it's personal life, I don't tend to make lists at all. But when I read this paragraph in the book, I started to think that I should maybe implement making more lists. And while I'm not making lists, I do journaling, and I really think that writing down things helps you to take some weight off your brain, and for that it really helps me. Now in the book, Austin Kleon talk about other kinds of lists, other kinds than other accounts other than to-do list, and I found it very interesting. So he's naming some people like David Shringley, who makes to-do lists. So everything he would need to draw, he make a list and he write it down. So at least you don't have to memorize it. Everything is on the list, and I think that's very smart, so you don't have to remember it all the time. There is also Leonardo da Vinci, who made to learn list. I also really love it because many of us creative, we love to learn about many different topics, and sometimes we have a topic in mind but we don't have time to learn anything about it yet. So maybe making a list of everything you would like to learn would help you to take it off your brain and to remember it for later. So he also talks about David Allen, who created Someday Maybe list, and Stephen Johnson, who made a file with every ideas he has. So as I said just before, it's really inspiring me to create more lists, to maybe gain more clarity and take off some weight off my brain. Also, by writing down things, it's like you are planting a seed and you are allowing it to let it grow without forgetting about it. So that's not written in the book, that's how I see it. So far, I haven't created any list yet, other than a file where I write all my thoughts and all my ideas, but everything is kind of mixed together. But it's really something that I'm going to implement in the next few days. Maybe when I publish this video, I already made a few lists or something. I'll see, but yeah, I thought that was interesting to share that with you. Now, the third point that is very important nowadays is to disconnect with the world to reconnect with yourself. And that's really hard to do nowadays, but that's so important. I honestly still struggle with it as a content creator. I'm very, very connected all the time. I spend a lot of time on social media for my work and also for my personal use. And while I am aware that it's important to be present and mindful when you are scrolling social media, that's something I try to do every time I am on social media. However, being completely disconnected is, I think, so important, especially to be able to reconnect with your authentic self without the feel that you need to show up in a specific way because you are on social media. In the book, Kleon said, nowadays you need to seek for silence and solitude. He also recommends to find a place or a time to disconnect from the world every day. Here is a quote that I loved from Thomas Merton. The greatest need of our time is to clean out the enormous mass of mental and emotional rubbish that clutters our minds and makes of all political and social life a mass illness. Without this house cleaning, we cannot begin to see. Unless we see, we cannot think. So if you can, try to disconnect yourself from the world, from everything, at least once a day. That's something quite hard to implement, I think, but let's try to do it, and that's an advice that I'm giving to myself as well. Now let's talk about the fourth point that I want to share with you. It's something that I say a lot to my students, but it was good to read it from someone else, like an advice that is given to me. Do the work, do your art without caring about the end result. You can and you have to create from time to time without showing the result to anyone. Do something ugly. Experiment, have fun with different techniques, with techniques you never used before. Even if that looks horrible and ugly, you will most likely have learned a ton during the process. So from time to time, allow yourself to really play and throw your work in the bin. Here's a quote from the book by Kurt Vonnegut. Write a poem and don't show it to anybody. Tear it up into little pieces and throw them into the bin. You have learned a lot more about what's inside you and you have made your soul grow. So as a creative, it's really important to do things for yourself and to don't show the end result to anyone. Now the fifth point can really work like magic, and if you have never done it before, after watching this video, please consider creating something to gift someone special. Creating for someone really makes a difference, in my opinion. A few years ago, I was studying and practicing digital art, and one day I decided to create one piece of content, one composite I had in mind for someone special in my life. I had this idea in my mind and I really wanted to make it happen. However, I think I didn't really have the skills I needed to really make it work. But because I wanted to give this a special person with this composite, I created what was probably my best composite ever, and I learned a lot of new skills along the way to make it happen. So pick someone special in your life and make something for that person. Gifting can be an incredible source of inspiration and a way to bring back your creativity. Now the sixth point is especially for creatives that are starting out, but also good reminders for the ones that have been around for years. You have everything you need. We tend to think we always need something more to be able to create something good. Now you don't need the last camera, you don't need the last lens, the last software, the last laptop. You don't need an extraordinary life to be able to create extraordinary work. You only need to pay extra attention to the world and to the life around you. You already have everything you need. And this is directly connected with the seventh point that I want to share with you. To be able to pay extra attention to the world, you need to allow yourself to slow down. In the book, Kleon says, when your job is to see things other people don't, you have to slow down enough that you can actually look. There is a quote from the Slow Art Day website that says, when people look slowly, they make discoveries. Now here is the eighth point, and that's something I've only discovered this year. In the book, Kleon says to exercise is to exercise. I've been training and working out for like 7 or 8 years, but I started running and walking only a few months back. And it really feels incredible in terms of creativity. I think it really should be the number one activity for problem solving. It's good for mental health, it's good for physical and spiritual. And one reason might also be that when you are walking or running, you are also not looking at your screen. So you also allow yourself to disconnect from the world. Here is a sentence from the book. When we are glued to our screens, the world looks unreal, terrible, not worth saving or even spending time with. Everyone on earth seems like a troll or maniac or worse. And I think it's very true, especially nowadays where the world is maybe not going too well and we see bad things happening every day and we are hyper aware of what's happening in other countries. It's sometimes a bit hard to see the good things that are happening and to see the good and to see the positive in this world. So go out and walk and don't spend too much time on your screen. Remember that there is a real world outside of the internet. The last point, but not least, is to admit that creativity has seasons. It is okay to don't be inspired all year long. It is okay to don't create incredible work all year long. This quote from May Sarton will be the last one, but it really made sense to me. Imitate the trees. Learn to lose in order to recover. And remember that nothing stays the same for long. This is the end of this video. I hope that it inspired you to keep being creative even if you feel a bit lost or a bit tired at the moment. I really recommend to read the entire book because here I've decided to share the points that really made sense to me and that are really helping me to reconnect with my creativity and with my daily routines. But there are so many other points that might make sense and that might resonate a lot more with you. So please get the book and read it entirely. You won't be disappointed. This video is really different from what I usually do. So let me know in the comments if you liked it, and I might create more of this kind of format if you liked it. So let me know, and I see you in the next video.